Hey guys, welcome to
Beginner
DJ
Lessons.com.
I've had tons of people ask me what the DJ decks that I use in these videos are called. Well, the answer is they're called DDJ SX2 by Pioneer. They're these DJ decks here. See?
Bit of magic for you.
Getting all magical now.
Now, many of you guys are asking me what kind of DJ decks I would recommend you buy. These are currently £880 in the UK. So these may not be the best set of DJ decks for complete beginners. I will probably do a video on my opinion on which decks you should get if you are a beginner in another episode.
Subscribe if you want to see that episode.
However, today I'm going to just do a review of these DJ decks and tell you guys what I like and dislike about these DJ decks. Let's do it. Okay, so before we get into it, I just want to say this isn't really going to be much of a tutorial video. If you want to learn how to use these, you can check out my video here, your first 10 minutes on DJ decks. This video today is primarily going to be about what I like about these DJ decks and what I don't like about them. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first thing I love about these DJ decks is the simplicity of setup. All you have to do with these DJ decks is plug them in, connect the speakers, connect the computer. I've got a video on setting up these DJ decks. You can check it out up here, up there. Right, so what's amazing about these is this. Once you plug it in, Serato instantly realizes that the DJ decks are plugged in and changes screen perfectly set up for these DJ decks. So it's really simple the way this is set up and it just works perfectly. Okay, so I think the best place to start here is just to run you through my everyday go-to features of these DJ decks. I don't use the slider, so I use the volumes up or down. I find these really nice and easy to use. They're simple, they don't slide too quickly, they're smooth, which helps if you're doing a very delicate blend. They're just kind of rigid enough to make a nice blend like that. The filters sound really nice and professional, so I know it might sound weird saying the filters sound nice, but having done production for ages, like music production, I find they've got a really pleasing kind of sound to them, the filters. So they sound good, they sound professional, they sound like Pioneer filters. The next thing I use, obviously, is the jog wheel. So there's a lot of DJ decks out there that don't have jog wheels. When I first got these, I didn't know whether these were going to be a bit small, because they are smaller than some other DJ decks, but having used them for a while, I find them perfect. They're just the right size for me, I find. They're smooth, the outer ring nudges the track along, and I find that's just the right speed. It's good. I really like them. They're solid. The other feature I use quite a lot is this trackpad here. Now, a lot of DJ decks don't have this. For those of you who don't know, this trackpad here can be used to skim through a song. So if you look at this white dot here, this signifies where on the track you are. If I hold my finger here and scroll along, you'll see that white dot scrolling through the song. I really like that feature. When you're using it with Serato, it really helps. If you've got a couple of seconds to get to the right bit of a song, you can just put your finger there and scroll roughly to where you think it needs to be, and then use these jog wheels to get to the exact point. I use that all the time, pretty much every song, and I find that really helpful. So something else I enjoy about these DJ decks. Now, the DJ decks below these are called the DDJ SX, not the SX2. The primary difference being that these pads here have colours, whereas on the DDJ SX they're just blue. I have to say I really enjoy the fact they have colours. One of the main reasons for this is because I'm quite a fan of setting multiple cue points throughout a song. So, for example, if I saw here on this track, you can see there's another drop about here. I can scan my finger along till I get to that drop there. And what I would typically do is find the exact point where the drop starts, and I'd set a new cue point here. Up here now I can see there's a blue cue point, and instantly down here there's a blue cue point, and you see they work really well with each other. So there's a yellow cue point there and a green cue point there. Yellow, green. So this is a feature I really like. I wouldn't want to go back to just having regular colors because I've become accustomed to these. And when you use other programs like Mixing Key that will put multiple cue points on the song for you, it's great to be able to see all the colors straight away. The tempo, obviously all DJ decks have that. That works really well. It's really smooth. It doesn't sound too weird unless you speed up or slow a song down really quickly, which you'd imagine like this. You can see it doesn't sound, even when I'm really extreme with it, it doesn't mess the song up too much. It doesn't kind of go like that, it just sounds smooth. So that's something else I really like about these. It's a smooth tempo bar that doesn't mess up the song at all. The other feature, again, not all DJ decks have this, but something that I don't think I could live without, is the loop feature here. So being able to put a loop on a track, being able to increase the loops, get rid of the, increase the loop length, or decrease the loop length is something I use all the time. And the other feature I use quite a lot is at the top you can set different effects. So if you were to come onto Serato here, you can click on this button here, effects, and you can set what effects you want these to have. So echo, delay, reverb. The only one I ever actually use is reverb, which I've set, and again, having done music production for a few years, they're nice sounding reverbs and they're nice sounding effects. So let me just add a bit so you can hear it. They're nice sounding effects, so they're good. And pretty much, guys, that is 99% of what I do on these DJ decks, and I'm really happy with them. They are basic, they're basic DJ decks, but the stuff that I use works, and it works really well. A couple of other things about these DJ decks. You can obviously add in CDs or an iPhone or anything like that into the back, and that works pretty seamlessly as well. They never seem to fail. Another quite cool feature of these decks is a sync button. I don't tend to use this because I quite like beat matching manually. However, what you can do is when you've got one song playing, hit the sync button on the song that's playing, then the song that you want to beat match to, you click sync, and it will instantly set this track here to the same speed as this track, and it'll also line up the bars so they're perfectly lined up. So as you can see here, there's a white bar here, a white bar here. I'm going to turn the volume down. I'm going to take the sync button off for now, and I'm going to purposely change the speed of this song. So this song here is 23 and this song here is 20, okay? So if that was playing, I hit the sync button here, then I come over here and I hit the sync button here, and when I press play, they are both playing at 123, and both those bars are lined up perfectly, which would just make beat matching a little bit easier. Perhaps I'll do a video on that at some point. But again, that's just something I don't typically use. The other thing this deck obviously lacks is a digital screen telling you information about the song, which a lot of decks have, like the CDJs. I don't miss that because the first thing I do with these decks is I plug them into my computer and I've got all the information I need and more on the computer screen. So I don't particularly miss it. So another feature that these decks have that are quite interesting, as you can see, there's different pad modes. Hot cues obviously just show you the different cues, right? But there's two other which I'm going to explain to you now. There's roll and slicer. Roll is interesting, so let me see if I can explain this to you. What roll does is essentially puts on a mini auto loop of varying sizes. So this would be the biggest, slightly smaller, 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 smallest, okay? And these are basically different loop sizes. So watch, if I hit this biggest loop button here now, you'll see on the program it's created quite a big loop. But as I go down through them, you'll see the loops get smaller and smaller and smaller all the way down. So as I go down these, they get smaller and smaller. You can actually see the auto loop feature comes on there. So you can essentially create your own little builds within a song by going smaller, 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 and the song will go ding, ticka, ding, ticka, ding, ticka, ding, ticka, ding, 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 like that. And you can create these little rolls. But what's interesting about roll rather than auto looping, because remember, you can put on auto loop and you can just go half time, half time, half time, and it'll have a similar effect as hitting these pads and making them smaller. But the thing that causes roll to be different to auto loop is as you're looping the song and it's looping over and over, as long as you've got your finger on the button, the track, even though the bit that you're playing is looping and looping, the track underneath it is continuing to play. So even if I was to hold my finger there and it was going ding, 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 and just looping a little bit, the song continues to play. The time you would probably use this is if you wanted to create kind of glitchy effects. Again, I don't really use this feature much, but for example, if it was on the outro of a song and you wanted to just have a bit of a play around, you could do little builds and drops, and it's not really disrupting the flow of the song. So let me kind of give you a rough, terrible example, okay? Do you see what I was doing there? I was just having a bit of a mess around, looping certain bits, but the song that was playing underneath was not really disrupted at all. Guys, that's the best way I can explain it, because it's quite a tricky thing to explain, and to be honest with you, a tricky thing to use. That's why I don't really use it that much. Anyway, I'll also show you the second section, which is called SLICER. This is kind of equally as confusing to explain. What it does is every song has bars, as I've explained in the past. When you put SLICER mode on, it will take the two bars that are currently playing and break them down into quarter sections, okay? And the quarter sections will relate to each button. So this would be the first bar here. You can see there's a bar there, and that's this bar. And then there's a second bar here, which is this bar here, okay? So this would cause the first quarter of the first bar to play again, the second quarter of the first bar to play again, the third quarter. So for example, if I hit this button, it would play the second quarter of the first bar. So it would play this section here, okay? Because there's the first bar, second bar, first quarter, second quarter. It's really weird and confusing, but again, what it's good for is if you were just having a play around. So let me just show you. So you can see these are the quarters that are playing. Quarter, 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 quarter. And I can come down here and play certain bits over. So let me just show you, okay? And see, I can play a certain bit. Now again, you guys are probably thinking the same thing as me. When would you ever use this in a DJ set? I never use it at all, and perhaps I haven't even explained this very well to you guys. But basically, it's good for just playing little parts of the track over and not really disrupting the underlying song, because the song underlying will just run smoothly throughout. So these are two other sections which are there on these decks, but I just never use them. I only ever use the hot cues. Final thing I wanted to say about these decks is they're very portable, which is great if you're going from different venues and you're just moving around a lot. So let me show you how I would typically transport these decks, okay? You can just unplug it, obviously you take the wires and everything with you. But what I tend to use, oh, let me take that one out as well, is this case here. So, slot it in like this, all my wires and everything and microphone go down underneath there. Grab the case goes on like this, and then this is what I would use to take my DJ decks around. Let me just do this up. And then yeah, you can just transport your DJ decks just like this. Okay guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, comment if you want, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Finally, I just want to say, if you are just getting these DJ decks or you're thinking of getting them and you don't have a clue how to use them, I have a full DJ training course at beginnerdjlessons.com where I use these exact decks to teach you everything you need to know about DJ, from not knowing anything on these things right up to being able to do your first DJ gig seamlessly. If you're interested, come and check it out. Thanks for watching the video.